Progress.
Shabbos Nachamu. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yoimar Elokeichem. By the way, the numerical value of Nachamu, Nun, Ches 58 plus Mem 98 plus Vav is 104. 104 and 104 is 208. Gematria Yitzchak. Gematria Eliyahu 4 times. It's a reference to the Gemara in Brachos Eliyahu Ba'arba. The Medrash tells us on this pasuk Nachamu Nachamu that Hashem is going to give the Klal Yisrael double consolation. Nachamu Nachamu. Nachamu Nachamu. What does that mean, double consolation? If somebody is in pain, then they need consolation. Once you're fully consoled, then you've maxed out on your consolation. What can be added? Once you're consoled, of what value is double consolation? Imagine somebody is very thirsty. So he drank until his thirst was quenched. He doesn't need to drink more. That will not benefit him. So what exactly is the double consolation that is in store in the future? Once you've received your requisite consolation, no more is needed. Furthermore, the pasuk continues. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yoimar Elokeichem Daberu Alev Yushalayim Yigeru Ki Malaha Tzivah Ki Nertza Avoina Ki Lakcha Miyad Hashem Kiflayim B'chol Chatoiseha. We were punished doubly. What do you mean we were punished doubly? What does that mean we were punished doubly? If we needed to be punished, then we should receive just retribution. Once we receive that, what exactly did we receive above and beyond what was needed? Isn't that extra? So we want to uncover Nachamu Nachamu. I saw in a Divrei Torah that I received from my friend Rabbi Emanuel Bernstein. He quotes Reb Leib Mintzberg in the Sefer Ben Melech, who has an amazing insight and an amazing Einfall. If you want to understand the double Nechama, where else in Chazal do we find double Nechama? We know that when the Tanoim, Ram Gamliel, Rabbi Yeshua, they went to the Har HaBayis and they saw the foxes on the Har HaBayis, they began to cry. And Rabbi Akiva laughed. And Rabbi Akiva says, why are you crying? They said this is a holy spot on earth and it's being defiled. Rabbi Akiva said, that's why I'm laughing. Because if this prophecy is being fulfilled, then certainly the prophecy of the redemption will be fulfilled. What did they tell Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva nichamtanu, Rabbi Akiva nichamtanu. Double consolation. So if we could somehow understand the double consolation that Rabbi Akiva offered the Tanoim, maybe we could understand the double consolation of Nachamu Nachamu. That to me is a great Einfall. Let's understand the inside of Rabbi Akiva. Did Rabbi Akiva somehow, what was he so happy about? What was he laughing about? That now he believed the Geula would happen, and if he didn't see the foxes, he wouldn't have believed the Geula happened? Why did he need to see foxes? How did the foxes strengthen his belief and his conviction in the coming of the Geula? Rabbi Akiva said, now that I saw the fruition of the first Nevuah, then I'm going to be Zoicha to the second Nevuah. What, Rabbi Akiva did not believe in the coming of the Geula until they saw foxes? The Gemara says, this world, for good news, we say Hatoy v'hametiv. For bad news, we say Dayan ha'emes. La'olam haba, we'll only say Hatoy v'hametiv. The Rabbi Yehuda in the Tzlach, Psachim, Daf Nun Amud Aleph, amazingly says, I don't understand. In the future, we're not gonna make Hatoy v'hametiv. We'll only say, in the future, we're not gonna say Dayan ha'emes. We're only gonna say Hatoy v'hametiv. Why are we focused on the brachos? Just say nowadays bad things happen, and in the future bad things won't happen. Why are we saying nowadays we say Dayan ha'emes or Hatoy v'hametiv, and then in the future we're only gonna say Hatoy v'hametiv? Say, why are we focused on the brachos? Say in the future only good things will happen. So says the Rabbi Yehuda, of course only good things will happen. What that means is, in the future, what we used to say dayin ha'emes about, we're going to make hatov ha'mitiv. What does that mean? In the future, we're going to understand that all the things in our life that we thought were setbacks or difficulties, we're going to realize they were not besurais rois. We're going to recognize how they were really good. In other words, the Gemara is not talking about how in the future only good things will happen. Nowadays, there are two kinds of things that happen to us. Things that we see that are good, and some things we don't see that they're good. It seems to us like they're bad. And therefore we have to make dayin ha'emes. But in the future, the things we used to make dayin ha'emes about, we're going to make hatov ha'mitiv. We're going to see how these things really brought great bracha to us. So, says Rav Leib Mintzberg, this is what it means that Hashem punished us doubly. Not only did we have hardship, not only did we have tragedy, but to add insult to injury, besides the hardship itself, we could never understand how these hardships and these difficulties were part of Hashem's plan. We can never understand what the goodness in this was. How is this helping us? It was only pain. It was only suffering. So one punishment was the punishment. But what made the punishment more painful is we could not understand what is Hashem's plan over here. Why is this happening? This is not bringing me any success or happiness. So what is the double comfort? It will be double comfort. Number one, no bad things will happen to us. All our difficulty and suffering will be behind us in the rearview mirror. But aside from the fact that we'll have no suffering ahead of us, we'll also understand how all the suffering that was behind us brought us to the blessing and the success that we had. That's the double Nechama. The double Nechama is all our suffering will be behind us, and we will recognize how all the suffering in our life brought us to all of our happiness and success. That's the Nachamu Ami. Number one, no more difficulty. Number two, we will recognize how the difficulty we encountered and suffered in life brought us great bracha. Coming to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva did not have more faith in the coming of the Geula when he saw the foxes. He's not saying that just like I know A will happen, I know B will happen. What Rabbi Akiva is saying is not only will B happen, but I now recognize and have a deeper appreciation that B will only happen through A. Rabbi Akiva wasn't just saying, just like the tragedy of the foxes roaming on the Temple Mount happened, so too will the rebuilding of the third temple happen. What Rabbi Akiva is saying is he came to the recognition that through the desecration and the tragedy of Jewish history, that will create the happiness and success of the coming of the Beis HaMikdash. So the Tanoim told Rabbi Akiva, not Rabbi Akiva Nicham Tanu, Rabbi Akiva Nicham Tanu, Rabbi Akiva Nicham Tanu. Not only did you console us that you brought to light the absolute conviction of the coming of Mashiach, but you made us recognize and appreciate that just like a seed has to degenerate, it has to, disintegrate before it flourishes, so too the Churban was the Siba of the Geula. So this is the double consolation, and Be'ezus Hashem, may Hashem console all of Klal Yisrael. We have a very long period of consolation, even longer. We had 3 weeks of Churban, we have 7 weeks of Nechama, and we should be Zoicha V'areinu Hashem b'nechamas Tzion u'b'binyan Yerushalayim Ir Kodshecha. Have a good Shabbos, everyone. Bracha v'hatzlacha.
Recording stopped.
Baruch Tiyah.